Oh, मेरे भाई.
Well, hello there. Beautiful spring day. Today we're talking about container gardening, and we will not go in the details of what soil to use or anything. We'll just talk about different kinds of containers. There is a variety in the market. You can start from metal, you can go to wood, you can go into man-made from concrete, ceramic, grow bags, terracotta, and even plastic. We are only about to talk about four of them because we're just trying to talk about things which will not break the bank. We will discuss the pros and cons of each so you can make up your mind to figure out what to buy. As I said, we'll talk about four. So the first two cheapest ones. The first one is a grow bag, which has started become more and more common around where we live. The other is plastic, which is made to look like terracotta. Let's talk about the pros and cons of both. The good thing about grow bags is they're light. So whatever weight you are picking is really the weight of the soil that you're using. Or right now there's no plant in it, so whatever the weight of the plant will be. It makes it this makes it very easy to move it around. Let's say if you have to move something around because of extra sun or too much rain, things of that nature. So very good. Not too expensive, a few dollars. Uh, they do make them in different kind of materials. Some are breathable, some are not. To the point from canvas to there are ones which are very close to plastic. The plastic kinds mostly are biodegradable, but still. So they work a bit differently, but the idea remains the same. What are the pros for this? Cheap, easy to move around, um, the flexibility of it. There are a few cons. The first one being the lifespan is 2 to 3 years, which means that if you have to keep on replacing them every 2 to 3 years, um, the cost will add up. So you need to keep that in mind. The other thing which you have to be very careful, this is a porous material, which means when you water it, water not only comes from the bottom, how it comes in plastic, but it comes from the sides also, which from one side is a good thing because if you are watering heavy handedly, you cannot overwater it because the water will go through. So that's a good thing. The bad thing about that is that you have to be on top of water. If you're living in an area where you get a lot of sun and it's warm, you might have to it might you might have to water every day. So that becomes a challenge, and that's, I will say, use of excessive water. Now, if we move a step further, then we get to plastic. Containers like these have been famous since almost since we started figuring out how to make plastic. Multiple things which are good about it. If this is a couple of bucks, you're talking about five to $10 for these. They come in multiple colors, so they could be used for outdoor or indoor. They take the weather quite good compared to some other categories. There are some issues with it also. It is hard. Uh, Chances of root bound can happen. So you have to be very careful when you use something like this, the size of your containers. I'm just using or showing you these as just to demonstrate my point, but really you have to figure out the size of your container depending on what you're growing. For whatever this is, you can grow quite a few herbs and stuff. You might be able to grow up a chili pepper plant, but if you're going into tomatoes, this might be a bit small, so you would have to go bigger. Do keep in mind, anytime you go bigger size, it will become heavy. So in both the cases, uh, in the bags or in plastic containers, they are made in bigger sizes, but the bigger you'll make, the less mobile it will become. So you have to be very careful how you do it. If you don't have to move it around, then you don't care. But if you have to for a certain reason, then you need to worry about it. The lifespan of this will be like long. Plastics stays for a long time. They are typically recyclable in most areas in the United States, so that's a good thing. Many companies have started making them with recycled material, so that's a good thing. Just the price and the benefits of it. So it comes handy. Now with colors and a lot of designs, what you get from this is you can have something for inside and outside. So you don't have again to buy something very expensive to put it inside to make it look nice. You can buy a nicer either in color or there are patterns also you can buy. So that's the flexibility of plastic. Before I get into terracotta, because these plastic ones are made to look like terracotta, the the walls on plastic are thinner compared to terracotta. One other thing, plastic does not breathe, so you have to be careful how you water it, because like in the case of grow bag, and we'll discuss terracotta how it works. They breathe, and that makes life different. Now we move to terracotta. Their price points, their other things. They are made from clay, so some call them the clay pots. They are as old as when human figured out clay, which I think would have figured out day one. And when they figured out fire, they created kilns, and you bake this shape, and a terracotta planter comes out. Uh, the the thickness is far more than plastic. When we were looking plastic just a minute ago, it also looked like this, but they try to make it look like this kind of pot. This is far more traditional. Uh, Typically comes in this color only. They take regular clay and bake it and just leave it. You will find some versions where they would have painted it, but generally speaking, this is what you get. Now they are the next price point from plastic. So they get into, again, this is smaller pot. So they will be from that 10 to $15 to $20 range. You might be able to get them cheaper between 10 and 20, but it would not be cheaper than that. And I'm talking about the same size as what I had in plastic. What's good about it? The surface is breathable. So when you water it, and once you have some kind of saucer underneath it, the water will be, because they will have a hole underneath. The saucer will catch the extra water, which could be sucked it again. They are breathable, porous material. So some of the water, it would not rush out like the grow back, but it will precipitate. When they're outside, the good thing is, if again with a lot of sun, if you water it and there is water in the tray, it does control the temperature better than the first two materials we saw. A quick change in temperature, going too high, too low, it handles it better. You can use it outside. Indoors, some people don't like the look of it. I don't mind. You can use them indoors also. They are heavy. Remember that. So you have to remember what size to get. Again, sizes are, but in the previous two materials, really the material itself was light. In this case, the pot itself is heavy, and then when dirt goes in and the plant, it will make it heavier. So keep that in mind. And what sizes, or how do you want to do it? Now, compared to plastic, one thing is, since this is man-made material, uh, it has a shelf life. Plastics, even though it cracks, stay longer than this. In all materials, it's always preferable, if you live in a region where it gets too cold, to bring all those pots or bags indoors in a garage, or if you have a shed, you'll just get more years out of it. Else they'll start cracking. Now let's come to these. The beautiful ceramic pots, the most expensive. They're truly for indoors. You can use them outdoors, but leave them to elements. They will start cracking, and they're far too expensive to waste. They come in many different patterns. Compared to terracotta or others, they do not breathe because they're painted. They would have a hole, typically a hole underneath, that you can put a saucer or a plate underneath, matching the design on your pot. So something nice to have for indoors. Now with indoors, the flexibility you'll get is you can buy these in a kind of decor that whatever you have in the house. So if you color conscious, that okay, I need this. There's a lot of variety, not only in colors but in from different cultures. Many cultures make it, so you can have many different themes which can go very well with your indoors. Um, they live around the same kind of a life as terracotta if uh, proper care is taken. If they are indoors, I think I have had this one, if I'm not wrong, for around 15 years. And it does sometimes stay outside also. It's still as good, but not as good as new. So, as I mentioned at the start of this video, that there are a lot of different materials that you can buy these things in. I was just trying to give you an introductory, just to have an idea, just to have a price point. So we talk from like a couple of bucks all the way to $30 or $40, depending on how your budget is, what you're trying to do. So you can go these routes. You can, as I said, go other routes. Again, pros and cons, but I think this will give you an idea. Before I close for today, so let's show you something that we were growing last week. So if you watch my video from last week, these are all the plants. It did get cold, but it worked out. So greens are growing nicely. Thank you so much. Keep watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.